In this project, we're going to be looking at how to complete the Duality portrait project, but in the online version of Photoshop. So if your screen is darker or looks different, then chances are you are watching the wrong video and you have loaded the desktop application instead of the online web version. So make sure you're watching the right video paired with the right version of Photoshop. So for this project, we are going to start by clicking the blue plus sign create button to start a new document and get a new canvas to work on. We're going to go ahead and click on document sizes. And if you don't have letter size right here for you, you can click most common and it will be there. We're going to go with just a standard size sheet of paper, which is 8.5 by 11 inches. And then we're going to let that load, and you can see that right now it's a blank canvas. We have just our foundation layer. We don't have anything else. So you should have already taken 2 portraits for this project. So the first step in this project was to get 2 contrasting portraits, because the end product for your portrait, your Duality portrait, is going to be a project something like this, where you have 2 portraits that are showing contrasting emotions and contrasting colors. So in this one, our example, we have happy and we have sad. Now you could do scared and surprised. You could do sleepy and excited. You could do calm and crazy. Whatever it may be, it's 2 contrasting emotions. Okay, so this is our end product that we're looking at getting to. So I used 2 stock images so that I could do this tutorial. They are not the same girl, even though they look similar. You are going to be taking portraits of the same person. So they can either be self-portraits, or with permission, you can take portraits of a friend. So I am going to start by loading in my first image. So here's my first picture. Now you can see that right now this picture has a background, and I want to go ahead and get rid of that background. So I'm going to make sure that my layer is selected and click the remove background option. And now we have a nice clean version of our happy emotion. I'm going to go ahead and click and move her kind of just down here out of the way for just a second, because now we're going to add in our sad version. And this too has a background that we want to clear out. So we're going to make sure we're on the sad layer and click remove background. And then what we're going to be left with are the 2 cutouts of these girls and their emotions. So we're going to be walking through how to customize and build out this piece of artwork. Keep in mind that you're building a piece of artwork, not just a photograph. So there's a lot of things that you can follow along with me, but as you're working on your own project, you might decide that you want to customize or change something up, and that's totally fine, because we want this to reflect you and your personality and style as an artist. So I'm going to start by clicking on my happy layer and making her a bit larger. Okay. Now you can see down here at the bottom of this picture is cut off in a very harsh line. You have 2 options here. I'm going to show you how to soften this line into a fade, or you could just take this and line it up with the bottom of the page so that it looks like it's an intentional choice to have such a sharp edge. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on my sad layer, and I'm going to make this one bigger as well. Now I'm looking at this, and I think I want happy to be my prominent layer, the one that's in the front. So I'm going to go over here to my layers and click and order them so that the layer that you want to be seen the most is in the front. Now with my sad layer, because she's leaning over to her right, our visual left, a lot of this is behind our layer. What we can do is we can flip her so that she is facing a different direction. So I'm going to click on this layer, okay, and I'm going to click transform. And when I click transform on this layer, I get this menu down here, and there's an option that says flip horizontal. So I'm going to go ahead and flip her horizontal and then move to this side. And now we have a much clearer version of this girl that we can see more of her arm and her face and things like that. I'm going to click done. Now, one thing I want to look at is with our happy girl, we took the harsh line and we put it down here at the bottom of the page. We can't do that with the sad girl, so we're stuck with this harsh line right here. So I want to show you how to use the paint feature to paint away pieces of a mask. So over here in our layers, we have our picture, but then we have the layer mask that is masking out all of the background from that image. So if we activate our brush tool over here, we can either have white or black, okay? Whichever one is the foreground is the color that you're going to be kind of painting with. Now, the cool thing is when you click on the mask, not the picture, but the mask, you're not actually painting black or white. You are adding or subtracting to the mask of the picture. So here's what that looks like. If I take my brush and I click and I draw, then I can actually, it looks like I'm deleting part of this picture. Now, I'm not actually deleting it. I'm just masking it, just like the background is. Oops, I went too far. If you come over here to the brush settings and you click advanced, you can change the opacity. If I bump the opacity all the way up to 100 and I click with my brush, whoops, if I'm on the mask and I click with my brush, you can see it's very heavy. It deletes pretty much everything in that circle. I like to lower the opacity so that I can kind of control taking it out with multiple clicks. So I'm going to click here. I think I'm going to go ahead and take out her leg so that it just kind of flows down like this, okay? So that's what I mean by fading out the picture instead of having that harsh line. Now, if you're like, oh, I kind of want her elbow back, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click switch, and now I'm going to have the white. And I'm going to kind of start to bring her elbow. Now, I just brought some of the background back, so it's kind of a back and forth. I don't want that background, so I'm going to go ahead and take that out again. Okay. All right, so I feel pretty good about that. I like the placement, the composition of the picture. So what we're going to do now is we are going to add a new type of layer that we have not worked with before. This is an adjustment layer, and you're going to be working with the hue and the saturation, which deals specifically with the color of an image. So I'm going to start with my happy picture. So my happy picture's up here. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to come up here to the layers toolbar, and I'm going to click adjustment layers, hue and saturation. Now, when I click hue and saturation, it adds a new layer over here, and it gives you a drop-down bar, and we're going to click this little tick box next to colorize. Now you'll notice as soon as I click that button, both the happy and sad girl kind of take on this pinkish red hue, this tone. That's because right now the hue is set to red. You can see I can slide this and they're going to change colors. Now here's the thing, I don't want both of them to be the same color. I want them to each be a color that represents their mood. So we only want this hue to be for our happy girl. So just like we did with our seasons, we are going to make sure we're on this layer, okay, the hue saturation layer, and we're going to click create clipping mask. Now you can see that the pink is only on the happy girl and the sad girl is in full color. So let's go back and set the hue the way we want it. So I'm going to double click on this layer, and I want to choose a color that seems very happy. So for me, I'm going to go with maybe like a yellow. Let's find a good yellow. Now that changes and puts us in the color range. Saturation is how much yellow. So super, super yellow, no yellow at all. So I'm going to choose kind of a yellow here, and I think I'm going to brighten her up just a little bit, not too much. Okay, so now she has this colorized mask of yellow that's matching her energy and her mood. Okay, so let's add a colorized mask for our sad girl as well. We're going to click on the sad layer. We're going to come up here to adjustment layers, hue, saturation, and then we're going to click colorize. And I am going to choose blue, like a bluish tone. Okay, because she's sad, she's blue. All right, I like that. All right, now we have these contrasting emotions. We have the contrasting colors, but on the white background, it just doesn't quite feel done. So I want you guys to work with gradient backgrounds on this project. You had the option to do gradients in seasons, but on this one, I specifically want you working with gradients. So we're going to come down here to our bottom layer and click on this bottom layer that's white. And we're going to click on layer styles and gradient overlay. So I've got that menu up here on my screen. Okay. Now, under gradient, you can click this drop down and it has all the colors broken down for you. But I want to show you something. This says that I should have a red gradient, but that's not what I'm seeing back here. I'm seeing blue. Does anybody know why? Take a look at our layer. We put a blue hue saturation and it is affecting everything underneath. So just like we clipped the yellow hue saturation layer to the happy, we need to click on our blue hue and saturation layer and click on clip. And as soon as we do that, that color layer down here reveals itself. Now you want to pick a gradient that matches with kind of the color scheme so that everything feels like it's very cohesive or working together. So I know I have blue and yellow. So you could go through all these different options. I know that there's one in iridescent that is kind of blue and yellow themed. So I'm going to choose this one. Now it's not the exact same blue and the exact same yellow, but I'm going to show you how to adjust that here in just a second. Now I want my yellow to be more in my happy girl range and I want my blue to be more in my sad girl range. So I'm going to click this little dot on this circle and I'm going to start moving the angle of the gradient. So you can see now I've got my yellow down on this side of the page and I have my blue up here on this side of the page. Now the blue is not exactly the same kind of blue that I set up for her. So you can change the color if you want to change the color so that it matches a little bit better. Or what you could potentially do is, I'll show you, you can go back to your blue layer, your hue saturation layer, and you could edit her blue to match the background a little bit more because she is sad. I'm going to darken it up just a little bit. Okay. So now this product feels a little bit more finished and finalized, and it is called our Duality portrait. So when you're done, remember you need to come up here to the 3 lines in the top left corner and click those lines and come all the way down to export as. You'll give it a title and save it as a PNG or a JPEG and then upload that to your Schoology assignment.